companies that will be offering more than what we can offer these members. And because it is known that they are highly trained, skilled, they will be able to investigate matters of particular private companies. They are able to offer them better packages, which unfortunately at times they leave. We have got financial institutions that need the services from members from the serious commercial crime, and the offers that they put on the table at times, our members will not be able to resist. Coming to the question of protection, our members are protected. I think that the lawmakers, this body included, have done it very well by putting the provision in the Act of creating section 17, capital letter L, of the Police Act, where there sits a judge, that if ever the members feel threatened by the involvement of either personnel in the police or the higher authority, they can go and report before that office of the DPCI judge. And even the members of the public, if they feel that there are certain issues that they would like to report against the members of the DPCI, they will do so through that office. So when it comes to the issue of protection, I am convinced that they are protected. And as management of the DPCI, we ensure that the members are encouraged to execute their work without fear or favor, and that as long as they do the right thing, they are protected. We will not allow them to be threatened for doing their work. So on that one is comfortable. The last questions come from the Honorable Mr. Siabi with regard to the discussions on a corruption case that was obviously the accused persons were acquitted in the Free State. Firstly, yes, we have got that load of work that we have highlighted. The work that goes into this, honorable members will see I have cited examples of what goes into this work. It shall have been seen that in one matter, I indicated that there are more than 1,000 statements that have been put into that investigation. That is the work that goes into this. When we declare a matter to be ready for trial, which is done in collaboration with the National Prosecuting Authority, it means that there is a lot of work that has been done. If we say that there are more than 3,000 charges that the accused person are facing, each charge is not necessary to be proved by one statement. So there is a lot of work that goes into this. I think that we can just appreciate that we have got specialists in this environment. The number may be less, which is why we are calling for increase so that we can have more. But looking at the matters that are on the court roll, which we say is more than 11,000, it means that a lot of work has been put into the files of those more than 11,000 accused persons. The issue of the case that have been dismissed in the Free State, I think that I also have received indication from the NPA today that they are still mulling the possibility of considering maybe the appeal. But it is a matter that I think that the judge, the presiding official may have not seen the evidence, and then that is how they assess. But if the NPA need to challenge, it may. There will obviously be some weaknesses that may be identified, but maybe I need to leave it at that there is always the possibility that one will not always achieve 100% conviction rates, but looking at the performance, we always achieve more than 80% conviction rates. So I think that that is something that one may keep in mind, that it's not everything that is being won. There are a few that get lost, and then we may have lost an important one, which is unfortunately in the Zondo report. With regard to the second aspect of the matters that are in Limpopo, one is not very much familiar, as the details have not been made very much clear. But generally, we do not handle the murder cases. We only handle the murder of police officials, or where the murder relate to some of the matters that we are dealing with, which the mandate will allow us to. If I can have the details of this, maybe one can check as to whether it is a matter that is in the DPCI space, or is the matter that may be in the greater service. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I think that I have dealt with the questions that have been raised.
Thank you, General Labia. Honorable members, do we have any further questions? Honorable members? I do not see any further hands. Honorable members, are you satisfied that you have received adequate responses?
Satisfied, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, are you happy that we cannot do PSIRA within 20 minutes? Honorable Whip, are you satisfied that I postpone PSIRA?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much then. Honorable members, in conclusion, Honorable Marekwa, I see your hand up.
No, thank you, Chair. I think I'm covered by the whip, that it won't be doing justice giving them 20 minutes to present. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Marekwa. So we're all in agreement. Mr. Chake has also agreed that we give them an opportunity next week, Wednesday or Friday. Thank you for understanding that we are dealing with substantial matters. Members, just an update on our legislative program. The leader of government business, who is also the deputy president, has with the civilian secretariat and the minister has indicated that they would like to still present the IPID amendment bill to Parliament. The following has to be recorded. One, Honorable Whip, members and the Deputy Minister, if you can convey this to the Minister, is the Secretary of the Civilian Secretariat still here? Mr. Amaru, are you still here?
Yes, Chair, I'm around.
All right. So on the IPID amendment bill, the bill has to still go to the JCPS Cabinet Committee and to Cabinet. And this, I estimate, will only happen in June. Am I correct, DM and Mr. Amaru? DM?
Hello, Chair, sorry.
That the IPID amendment bill still has to go to the JCPS Cabinet Committee and to Cabinet. Mr. Amaru, it seems as if I'm losing the DM.
Yes, it is correct, Chair.
So they have to take it to the JCPS cluster, Cabinet Committee, and then Cabinet. And if that happens in June, the National Assembly
Yes,
goes into recess from the
but we'll
19th.
make sure that
So can you bear in mind that we're going to recess from the 19th of June till the 3rd of August? Members, if that amendment bill reaches us at the end of June, we'll have to then work during the recess to process the bill. The committee would still have to send the bill to, firstly, we still have to print it for the committee public consultations. That would be August. And that would then mean that we would have to call the committee to sit during recess. The deadline for legislation in the National Assembly will be on the 30th of September. Then 4 weeks to process the bill, including the before availability in the National Assembly, it would have to go to the NCOP. So I'm struggling to find a proper and a suitable roadmap for meetings for us to sit during the official times of Parliament. And if we do not sit or complete our work by the 19th of June, we'll be going into recess. Bearing in mind, Honorable Mook, that we then have to do public consultation on this, and that looking at the amendment bill will be substantial amendments to the bill. I can actually guarantee you that there'll be substantial amendments to the bill. I am really struggling to find a slot, all these slots, for us to table the bill in Parliament by the 30th of September, after we have taken it through the NCOP. So the NCOP would also have to consider the bill before we table it to the National Assembly in September 2023. Honorable members, would you like to comment on this, or could I give it to Mr. Amaru and the Deputy Minister and the Whip? Honorable members, if we continue with the IPID amendment bill, I would have to call you during recess to sit on the bill. And we'll have to do public hearings on the bill. We're not going out, it would have to be published in the media, and we'll then receive the public's response. The public would also then need to be given an opportunity in the committee to do their presentations, as we did with the Poctatara bill. Honorable Whitfield?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I have absolutely no problem reconvening or convening at any stage during recess. As we know, we have an extensive set of recess periods this year. I believe that it is of such importance, this particular piece of legislation, that we must do everything that we can to ensure that the sixth Parliament does its work in respect of the IPID Amendment Bill. It is a legacy issue that this committee has inherited. We need to do the work that wasn't done before. And I think it would be an incredible way for us to end our term of office. And I'm certain, in the same way that we were able to find one another on the Criminal Laws Forensic Procedures Amendment Bill, we will be able to find each other on the IPID Amendment Bill. So I would fully support convening during recess if necessary and embarking on public participation in whichever manner is most appropriate and suitable with the time that we have available.
Thank you, Honorable Whitfield. So I'm informing members, consulting with you, so that we do not find ourselves in the middle of the process with a challenge which is time related. So, Honorable Whitfield, you propose that I consider going ahead with the IPID Amendment Bill. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any further comments before I take the Honorable Whip? Honorable Whip? I don't see any further hands. Honorable Whip?
Thank you, Chair. I would also agree with the Honorable Whitfield that we must try whatever we can to make sure that we push the bill. I would request the Deputy Minister and the Secretariat to do whatever they can on their part to push that at least we see through this IPID bill. And I agree with the Honorable Whitfield that it will form part of our legacy report, and is the legacy that we'll leave behind, that at least we have passed the bill. Remember, at a committee level, the main thing we must do is to pass the act or the bill with the assistance of Parliament. So I would agree with Honorable Whitfield and appeal to the Deputy Minister and I'm saying the Deputy Minister because the Minister is not here. The Deputy Minister and the Civilian Secretariat through the Acting Secretary, Mr. Ramaru, that we do whatever we can. And from the office of the chairperson, we liaise in such a manner that we push through to make sure that we pass the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Whip. There's consensus in the committee then, unless you have any further objections, that we do the IPID Amendment Bill. Firstly, that the bill goes through the JCPS committee, Cabinet Committee, and Cabinet, that you do so in June, by June. So by the 19th of June, Deputy Minister, by the 19th of June, you should have taken the bill through the JCPS Cabinet Committee and through Cabinet. So if we need to meet our deadlines, honorable members, by the 30th of September, that's our deadline. And it has to go to the NCOP. Then Cabinet Committee and Cabinet must present us. So the Minister has to present the committee with the amendment bill on the 19th of June, before we go on recess. We'll then have to call a number of meetings during recess, which would be June, July, August. We'll do the public hearings. The deadline, then we'll have to set a deadline for the amendment bill with the amendments. This would then have to go to the state law advisor, the amendments. The amendments will have to be worked in before we send it to the NCOP. I'm anticipating substantial amendments. I'm also anticipating that there may be serious challenges to the amendment bill. We, however, will push ahead. The committee has decided that we do push ahead and that we meet our deadline. The chair should then communicate with the chairperson of the NCOP. Nicolette, it must be communicated with the chairperson of the NCOP. That's the first immediate consideration for the chair. This immediate consideration for the whip is that he informs the whip of the majority party as the whip of parliament that we will need to, if we want to do the bill, amendment bill, we'll have to call our members during the recess. It's the responsibility of the whip. The chief whip needs to agree. The house chair also needs to agree that the committee sits during recess. I would then firstly, before I call Nicolette, before I call Mr. Amaru, how many weeks would that give us to process the bill if we sit during recess? And would this give us sufficient time to include the reading of the debate, the second reading of the debate in the National Assembly? Nicolette? A conservative estimate as well as the commitment from the side of the committee to complete the IPID amendment bill? Nicolette?
Thank you, Chair. I think if the bill can be tabled into Parliament by the latest, preferably before the 19th of June, the process can start, and then we can definitely sit during recess and finalize before the end of September.
Could we then give the cabinet, the members deployed to the executive, the deputy minister, a cut-off date for them to process it from the side of the cabinet committee and cabinet? We have started May. They have to bring it to us by the first week of June. What is the deadline? The Wednesday, first week of June. What is the date? Wednesday, first week in June?
Chair.
Yes, DM.
Chair.
Yes, DM.
I thought if we agree on the processing, like the sentiments expressed by Honorable Whitfield and the whip, we can then look at administratively what do we need to do in order to do everything, so that we don't sit in the meeting and try and come up with everything like you are trying
DM. Members, can you hear the DM?
No, we can't.
All right,
No,
so
we didn't.
DM, it's your problem.
We lost him.
We lost you, DM.
It's connectivity. I was saying because
Yes.
of do you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying, Chair, I was saying because of the connectivity.
Yes,
If we can just agree with
DM.
the sentiments as raised by Honorable Whitfield and the whip on and yourself saying that you agree on this,
We can't hear you.
then
Your connectivity is
sit down and condense the dates and the program, like saying we process everything here because there is difficulty of hearing each other when they are.
Dim, the difficulty is hearing you.
Yeah.
You don't have good connectivity. Dim, what I'm saying is that if the cabinet, the members of the executive, do not present us with a bill by the first week of June, I will not be able to accede to the request of the committee. From there onwards, the committee will work out its roadmap. I do not need you to respond, but I need all the members to understand that if the committee does not receive the bill from cabinet, I will not be able to do what they're expecting me to do. We have had commitments from the executive to bring us other pieces of legislation. Parliament was ready to process it, but it was not presented to us by cabinet and the civilian secretariat. So if we would like to do this as agreed upon by the committee and the whip, I need the bill with me by the first week of June, tabled to me by the end of May, so that members have an opportunity to read it. And it is then presented on the committee program on the first week of June. First Wednesday of June, it will be tabled before the committee. So the roadmap will then be determined and be worked on by which must be determined by the officials. If the whip and the House Chair do not approve of the meetings during recess, we cannot do the bill, even if we want to do the bill. If the chief whip and the House Chair do not approve, then we cannot continue with the bill. So that is why, DM, I have to deal with it in this matter. And DM, I can see your hand, but I can't hear you. So there are strict time frames that we all have to adhere to. And as in my concluding remarks, I'm requesting that we do the following as soon as possible, because the committee is committing, we have committed ourselves to do the bill. We're committing ourselves to do the bill. It depends on the executive, it depends on the chief whip, and it depends on the House Chair. We have said we have asked the following: the chief whip. Our whip has to approach the chief whip in writing. The chair must approach the House Chair in writing. And if those meetings are approved, those meetings which will happen during recess are approved, we'll be able to report back to you next week, Wednesday. DM, you will come in after Mr. Amaru. Nicolette, is that assessment correct?
Chairperson, good afternoon. Chair, I agree to some extent. However, it will be very difficult and challenging for us as staff to approach the presiding officers to ask for permission to sit on a bill that has not been introduced into Parliament yet, and which has not gone to cabinet. Actually, we will devise some plan.
Again, that is why I'm saying the bill has to go to cabinet. It has not gone to the JCPS cluster, and it has not gone to cabinet. Mr. Amaru and Nicolette will work on the whip. Your hand is up. Honorable Whip, your hand is up.
No, I think, Chair, you were I hear you saying what I wanted to say in your summary, that as a committee, we resolve that we must do whatever we can to push the bill through. And then we allow the office of Mr. Amaro and your office through the Colette to make sure that they give us a workable, what do you call it? Roadmap.
Roadmap. Yes.
Yes, and where the politicians are needed, we make sure that the deputy minister pushes the minister to do whatever for the JPS cabinet. And on our side, we'll communicate with the office of the chief whip of the majority party, and the office of the chairperson will communicate with the office of the house chairperson. But even outside the meeting, these offices communicate and see what is it that can be done to make sure that we push that the bill be passed as adopted.
Thank you very much. I think the WIP is also now experiencing connectivity challenges. We agreed, the committee agrees that we have to approach Parliament, that the executive has to do its work. Parliament will, in the meantime, approach, the committee chair and WIP will, in the meantime, approach Parliament, explaining to Parliament the urgency of having the IPID amendment bill pass, and explaining to them that we are awaiting the bill and that we will table it in Parliament soonest. Have I summarized it correctly? Agreed, members?
Yes, Chairperson.
We'll establish then the urgency, explain the urgency to all the relevant stakeholders, but that includes the JCPS cluster and the executive. Agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much, honorable members. That brings us to the end of today's meeting. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.